The assault pods attached to the hull of the Bright Dawn without a sound. In the silence of space, metal touched metal. Magnetic locks engaged. Cutting tools began their work. Inside the pods, Coalition Marines prepared for combat. Each team was mixed, combining the strengths of different species. Torvan soldiers led the way because nothing could stop them once they started moving. Valkyrie drones provided coordination, their hive minds sharing information instantly across all teams. Droth warriors covered the flanks with their natural armor and powerful limbs, and among them were the humans. 12 Special Forces operators from Earth, the only humans who had earned places in the Coalition military. They were smaller than their allies, weaker in pure strength. But they brought something else to the fight: creativity, adaptability, the ability to find solutions that no one else could see. Sergeant Taeyang checked his weapon one final time. He was the leader of the human squad, 32 years old with 10 years of military experience. He had joined the Coalition forces to prove that humans could fight alongside the best warriors in the galaxy. "Remember," he said to his team, "our people are in there. We get them out alive. Nothing else matters." The cutting tools finished their work. Sections of hull fell inward. The Marines poured through the openings like water through broken dams. Krivex guards turned at the sound of breaching. They raised their weapons. They never got a chance to use them. The first, Tovan through the breach, was a massive warrior named Krath. He hit the guards like a landslide. His armored fist crushed one Krivex against the wall. His other hand grabbed a second guard and threw him into a third. In seconds, the corridor was clear. "Move forward," Commander Nexali ordered through the communication network. Her voice echoed in every Marine's ear. Her drones gave her eyes everywhere at once. "The humans are in the main cargo hold, 3 levels down." The teams advanced through the ship. They moved fast and deadly, clearing each section before moving to the next. The Krivex tried to organize resistance, but they were too slow. The Coalition had been fighting together for centuries. They knew exactly how to work as one force. Taeyang and his humans followed the Torvan, watching the flanks and checking corners. They encountered a group of Krivex trying to set up a barricade. Before the aliens could finish, Taeyang's team hit them with precise fire. Every shot found its target. "Humans are efficient," Krath noted with approval. "Small but deadly. We learned from the best," Taeyang replied. They reached the cargo hold level. 2 Krivex guards stood at the main door. They saw the approaching Marines and reached for their communicators to call for help. They were too slow. Inside the cargo hold, Captain Yoon Hana heard gunfire. Close gunfire. The guards around them panicked. One of them received a message through his communicator. His face twisted with anger. "Supreme Collector Vroth orders the prisoners executed," the guard announced. "Kill them all." The guards raised their weapons toward the bound humans. Hana did not hesitate. "Dong-Wu now." Park Dong-Wu was already at the maintenance panel. His fingers had been working on it for the past 30 minutes. With one final push, he activated the emergency door release. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. The massive cargo doors began to open. Air rushed toward the growing gap, pulling everything loose toward space. The Krivex guards lost their balance. Their shots went wide, hitting walls and ceiling instead of humans. Hana threw herself toward the nearest emergency suit locker, fighting against the wind. "Everyone get to the suits," she screamed. Kim Subin was already there. She pulled open the locker and started throwing suits to her crewmates. Choi Yoonji helped the wounded move faster. Dong-Woo grabbed 2 crew members who had fallen and dragged them towards safety. The cargo doors were halfway open now. Loose equipment flew into space. One Krevex guard lost his grip and disappeared into the void with a scream that was cut short by silence. Hana pulled on her emergency suit with practiced speed. It was old and patched, but it would keep her alive. She helped Subin seal her helmet, then turned to check on the others. That was when the main door exploded inward. At first, Hana thought it was more Krevex. Then she saw the Torvan warrior enter the cargo hold. He was enormous, easily twice her height. His scales were covered in armor that looked like it could stop missiles. Behind him came more aliens. And then, incredibly, she saw humans. Soldiers in coalition military gear. The remaining Krevex guards tried to fight. They lasted less than 10 seconds. The Torvan warrior named Krath moved toward the humans, carefully avoiding the rushing air from the open doors. He reached the door controls and slammed them shut with one massive fist. The emergency seals engaged. The screaming wind stopped. Hana stood in the sudden silence, still holding her emergency suit. She stared at the massive alien standing before her. Krath looked down at the human captain. He saw the courage in her eyes. He saw that she had been ready to die fighting. He saw why his people had sworn to protect humanity. Safe now, he said in broken human standard. We protect. Hana felt tears forming in her eyes. She blinked them away. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Sergeant Oh Tae-young approached her. Captain Yoon Hana? I am Sergeant Oh Tae-young, Coalition Special Forces. We are here to take you home. You are human, Hana said with surprise. I did not know humans served in the Coalition military. Tae-young smiled. A few of us do. Someone has to show these big guys how it is done. Krath made a sound that might have been a laugh. Outside the bright dawn, the battle had begun. Supreme Collector Wrath had refused to surrender. He had ordered his fleet to fight. It was a mistake he would not live to regret for long. Admiral Brath commanded the engagement from his flagship. The Coalition fleet surrounded the Krevex from all sides. There was no escape. No mercy. The Tarvan dreadnoughts opened fire first. Their weapons were designed to crack asteroid bases and destroy space stations. Against Krevex warships, they were devastating. 3 ships exploded in the first volley. The Valkyrie carriers released swarms of combat drones. Thousands of small ships filled the space around the Krevex fleet, overwhelming their defense systems. The drones targeted engines and weapons, crippling ships without destroying them. The Coalition wanted prisoners to face justice. Wrath watched his fleet dying around him. He could not believe what was happening. Over 100 enemy ships against his 30. It was not a battle. It was an execution. We must retreat, his second-in-command urged. If we engage our faster-than-light drives now, some of us might escape. Wrath nodded. He turned his ship away from the battle and prepared to flee. He never got the chance. A Coalition warship appeared directly in his path. A human ship. Small compared to the others, but armed with Coalition weapons. Lee Ji-hwan watched from the bridge as the Endless Hunger tried to turn away. Disable their engines, Ji-hwan ordered. The Admiral wants him alive. The human ship fired. Precise shots hit the Krevex command vessel's engine section. Power failed across the enemy ship. Roth's escape ended before it began. Back on the bright dawn, the crew was being loaded onto Coalition transport ships. Choi Yoonji made sure the wounded went first. Dong-woo walked on his own power but leaned heavily on Subin's shoulder. Hana was the last to leave. She stood at the airlock and looked back at her ship. The bright dawn was damaged and scarred, but it had survived. Just like her crew, Sergeant Tae-young waited beside her. Captain, we need to go. Hana nodded but did not move immediately. Sergeant, can I ask you something? Of course. Why? Why did over 100 ships come for 12 miners? We are nobody. We are not important. Tae-young was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke softly. You called for help. You used the coalition channel. That means you trusted us to answer. How could we not come? Hana looked at him. There was something in his eyes. Pride. Belonging. The knowledge that he was part of something greater than himself. Welcome to the family, Captain, Tae-young said. Deathworlders protect their own. Hana stepped through the airlock. Behind her, the coalition fleet finished its work. The Kriveks would never threaten anyone again. When mankind took up arms, the Black Armada ascended Part 1. The warning, the Great Hall of the Galactic Assembly was silent. Representatives from 47 species sat in their floating chairs, watching the hologram at the center of the room. The image showed a planet burning. Cities turned to ash. Ships falling from the sky like dead birds. Yunho stood at the speaker's platform. He was 63 years old, a retired admiral of the United Earth Fleet. His hair was gray, and his back was straight. He had fought in 3 wars during his career. He had seen death many times, but the images on the hologram made his blood cold. This is the Velthari homeworld, Yunho said. His voice was calm but firm. 3 days ago, it had 8 billion people. Now it has none. The alien delegates shifted in their seats. The Velthari were a powerful species. Their empire covered 200 star systems. Their fleet was the largest in the galaxy. And yet, their homeworld had been destroyed in less than 12 hours. The enemy calls themselves the Hollow, Yunho continued. We do not know where they come from. We do not know what they want. We only know what they do. They erase. They leave nothing behind. A tall figure rose from the front row. It was High Counselor Threx of the Morvani, the oldest and most respected species in the assembly. His skin was pale blue, and his eyes had no pupils. Admiral Yunho, Threx said, Earth has been part of this assembly for only 40 years. Your species is young. Your fleet is small. Why should we listen to your warnings about an enemy that destroyed a power far greater than yours? Yunho did not flinch. He had expected this response. To the ancient species of the galaxy, humans were children. They had achieved space travel only 2 centuries ago. They had colonized only 12 worlds. They were nothing compared to empires that had ruled for thousands of years. Because I have studied the battle data, Yunho replied. The Velthari had 7,000 ships defending their world. The Hollow destroyed them in 6 hours. They did not negotiate. They did not demand surrender. They simply killed everything that moved. Perhaps the Velthari were weak, another delegate said. This was Elder Morath of the Kethrani, a species known for their arrogance. Perhaps they brought this upon themselves with their aggressive expansion. Yunho felt anger rise in his chest, but he controlled it. He touched a control on the platform, and the hologram changed. It now showed the hollow ships. They were black, covered in strange patterns that seemed to move. They looked almost alive. These ships have technology we do not understand, Yunho said. They can disable shields from a distance. They can cut through armor like paper. And there are thousands of them. Maybe tens of thousands. This enemy will not stop at the Velthari. They will come for all of us. High Counselor Threx made a sound that might have been laughter. Admiral, the Morvani had existed for 50,000 years. We have seen threats come and go. The galaxy always survives. Not this time, Yunho said. This time is different. But the assembly did not listen. One by one, the delegates dismissed his warnings. The Velthari were probably exaggerating. The threat was far away. There was no reason to panic. Yunho left the Great Hall feeling defeated. He walked through the corridors of the assembly station, past aliens who did not look at him. To them, he was just another human. Small, unimportant, A young woman was waiting for him at the dock. She wore the uniform of a United Earth captain. Her name was Hannah, and she was his daughter. "I watched the broadcast," Hannah said. Her face was tight with frustration. "They laughed at you, father." "They actually laughed." Yunho put a hand on her shoulder. "They are afraid, Hannah. Fear makes people act foolishly." "We should leave this assembly," Hannah said. "Let them face the hollow alone. Why should we die for species that think we are nothing?" Yunho shook his head slowly. "Because that is not who we are. Humans do not run from danger. We face it." They boarded their shuttle and flew back toward the human sector. Through the window, Yunho could see dozens of alien ships moving through space. Merchant vessels, passenger liners, military cruisers, all of them going about their business, unaware that death was coming. "Father," Hannah said, "what do we do now?" Yunho was silent for a long moment. He remembered a story his grandfather had told him when he was a boy. A story about a fleet that existed in secret. A fleet that humanity had built for the day when survival would matter more than peace. "There is something I need to tell you," Yunho said. "Something that very few people know." Hannah turned to look at him. "What is it?" "For 112 years, Earth has been building a secret fleet, hidden in the asteroid belts beyond Neptune. Ships that were designed not for exploration or trade, but for war. Total war." Hannah stared at her father. "That is impossible. The assembly would have detected it. The treaties forbid hidden military projects." Yunho smiled, but there was no joy in it. "The assembly sees what we allow them to see. And the treaties only matter as long as there is an assembly to enforce them." "How many ships?" Hannah asked. 300. Each one carries enough weapons to destroy a moon." Hannah sat back in her chair. Her mind was struggling to accept what her father was telling her. Her entire life, she had believed that humanity was a peaceful species. They had joined the galactic community to learn and grow. But now she realized that her people had been preparing for something else all along. "The fleet has a name," Yunho said. "We call it the Black Armada." At that moment, an alarm sounded on the shuttle's control panel. Hannah checked the readings, and her face went pale. "Father," she said, "a ship just entered our sector. Unknown design. Black hull. It matches the hollow profile." Yunho stood up and looked at the screen. A single hollow scout ship had come to human space. It was watching, learning, preparing. "They are here," Yunho said quietly. He moved to the communication console and typed in a code that he had memorized decades ago. A code that only 3 people in the galaxy knew. He sent a single encrypted message to a location that did not officially exist. The message contained only 5 words: "Wake the Black Armada." Hannah watched her father with new eyes. This was not the man she had known all her life. This was someone else. A warrior who had been waiting for this moment. "What happens now?" she asked. Yunho turned to face her. His eyes were hard and bright. "Now," he said, "humanity goes to war." Outside the shuttle, the stars burned cold and distant. Somewhere among them, the Hollow were coming. They had destroyed empires. They had ended civilizations. They believed that nothing in the galaxy could stop them. They had never met humans before. When mankind took up arms, the Black Armada ascended. Part 2. The Awakening. The shuttle traveled for 3 days through the darkest parts of the solar system. Hannah watched the stars disappear as they moved beyond Neptune into a region where the sun was just another point of light. She had never been this far from Earth. "We are close," Yunho said. He stood at the front of the shuttle, watching the navigation screen. "Look ahead." Hannah looked through the window and saw nothing. Just darkness and ice and floating rocks. Then, slowly, she noticed something strange. Some of the asteroids were moving in perfect formation. They were not natural rocks. They were disguises. The cradle, Yunho said. The birthplace of the Black Armada. The shuttle approached what looked like a large asteroid. A section of the surface slid open, revealing lights beneath. They flew through the opening and entered a massive underground chamber. Hannah stopped breathing. Inside, the asteroid was a fleet. 300 ships, all painted pure black. They had no markings, no identification numbers, no flags. They looked like shadows given form. Their hulls were covered in weapons, cannons, missile launchers, energy projectors. These were not exploration vessels. These were instruments of destruction. "My God," Hannah whispered. A man was waiting for them when the shuttle landed. He was in his 50s, with thick arms and oil stains on his uniform. His name was Dongwook, and he was the chief engineer of the Black Armada project. "Admiral Yunho," Dongwook said, shaking his hand. "I received your message. The fleet is ready to wake." "How long until full operational status?" Yunho asked. 12 hours. The crews have been in cryosleep. It takes time to bring everyone back." Yunho nodded. "Make it 8 hours. The Hollow are already watching us." Dongwook led them through the facility. Workers were running everywhere, activating systems that had been dormant for years. Lights came on. Engines began to hum. The sleeping giant was opening its eyes. "Let me explain the philosophy behind these ships," Dongwook said as they walked. "When we studied alien technology, we noticed something. Other species build ships for efficiency, for beauty, for speed. Their vessels are works of art." He stopped in front of one of the black ships. Up close, it looked even more terrifying. The hull was covered in sharp angles. The weapons bristled like thorns. "We built these ships for one purpose only," Dongwook continued. "To kill. Every system, every component, every piece of metal is designed to destroy the enemy and survive long enough to destroy more. These ships are not beautiful. They are not elegant. They are weapons." Hannah reached out and touched the black hull. It was cold under her fingers. "Why black?" she asked. "2 reasons," Dongwook said. "First, black absorbs sensor signals. It makes the ships harder to detect. Second, it inspires fear. When these ships appear in battle, the enemy will see death coming for them." They continued the tour. Dongwook showed them the weapons factories, the training facilities, the command center. Everything was hidden deep inside the asteroid, invisible to any outside observer. In the pilot training bay, they found a woman putting younger pilots through combat simulations. Her name was Sujin, and she was the lead pilot of the first Black Armada squadron. She was 34 years old, with short hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Admiral," Sujin said, saluting Yunho. "The pilots are ready. We have been training for this day our entire lives." "How many can fly combat missions?" Yunho asked. "All of them. The weakest pilot here could destroy any alien fighter in single combat. We made sure of that." Nearby, a young woman was working on a weapons console. She was only 22, small and thin, with glasses that kept sliding down her nose. Her name was G1, and she was the weapons specialist. "Sir," G1 said, looking up from her work, "I have been analyzing the hollow ship data you sent. Their weapons are powerful, but they have patterns. They attack in waves, always the same formation. If we can predict their movements, we can hit them harder." Yunho studied the young woman. She did not look like a warrior. She looked like a student who had wandered into the wrong room. But her eyes were sharp, and her mind was faster than anyone he had ever met. "Keep working on that analysis," Yunho said. "It might save all our lives." Hours passed. The crews woke from cryosleep and took their positions. Engineers ran final checks on every system. Pilots climbed into their cockpits and connected with their ships. Dong-W. Okay, found Hana standing alone, looking at the fleet. Your father designed much of this, Dongwook said. 30 years ago, when he was young, he believed that one day humanity would face a threat that required everything we had. He wanted to make sure we were ready. Hannah shook her head slowly. I never knew. I thought he was just a diplomat, a paper pusher. He wanted you to believe that. He wanted you to grow up in peace. But he was always preparing for war. An alarm sounded throughout the facility. Dongwook checked his communicator, and his face went serious. We just received a message, he said. The Hollow have attacked the Kethrani homeworld. The Galactic Assembly is in chaos. They are calling for help, but no one is coming. Hana thought about Elder Morath, the Kethrani leader who had laughed at her father in the assembly. Part of her wanted to let him suffer, but another part, the part that her father had raised, knew better. We have to help them, she said. I know, Dongwook said. That is what humans do. The command center was full when they arrived. Yunho stood at the main display, surrounded by officers. The hologram showed the Kethrani system. Hundreds of hollow ships were tearing through the defenses like a hot knife through butter. The Kethrani fleet is almost destroyed, an officer reported. They have maybe 6 hours before the planet falls. Yunho looked at his people. They were soldiers, engineers, pilots, scientists. They had trained for years in secret. Now the moment had come. We will send a message to all species in the galaxy, Yunho said. We will tell them that humanity will stand against the Hollow. We will ask who stands with us. What if no one comes? Sujin asked. Then we fight alone, Yunho replied. We are human. We do not need permission to do what is right. He walked to the broadcast console and activated the transmission. His image was sent to every ship, every station, every planet in the galaxy. This is Admiral Yunho of Earth, he said. The Hollow are coming for all of us. They will not stop. They will not negotiate. They will only destroy. Humanity chooses to fight. We do not know if we will win, but we know that we will not hide. We will not run. We will meet this enemy in battle, and we will make them pay for every inch they take. This is our message to the galaxy. Humanity will stand. Who stands with us? He ended the transmission. The room was silent. Then Sujin smiled. That should get their attention. Yunho turned to face the fleet display. 300 black ships, ready for war. All ships, he ordered. Prepare for launch. The Black Armada flies to war. One by one, the engines came to life. The asteroid's hangar doors opened to the stars. And from the darkness beyond Neptune, 300 shadows rose into the void. The Black Armada had awakened. When mankind took up arms, the Black Armada ascended Part 4. The Price Earth had never looked so beautiful. From the observation deck of the command station, Hana watched her homeworld turn slowly in the darkness. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds drifting across the surface. 8 billion people going about their lives, unaware that death was coming for them. How long do we have? She asked. Her father stood beside her. Yunho looked older than he had just weeks ago. The weight of command was heavy on his shoulders. Intelligence says the Hollow Fleet will arrive in 6 days, Yunho replied. They are bringing everything. Over 2,000 ships. Hana closed her eyes. The Black Armada had started with 300 ships. After the battle at Kethrani, only 193 remained. Even with the new tactics, even with the bravest pilots in the galaxy, the numbers were impossible. We cannot win, Hana said quietly. No, Yunho agreed. We cannot win. But we can make them pay such a price that they think twice before attacking anyone else. President Kyung-mi addressed humanity that night, She stood in front of the United Earth flag, her face calm and steady. Billions of people watched from their homes, their ships, their colonies across the stars. "Citizens of Earth," Kyungmi said, "I will not lie to you. The enemy coming for us is more powerful than we are. We may not survive this fight, but I want you to know what we are fighting for. We are fighting for our children, for our future, for the right to exist, and we are fighting for something else. We are fighting to show the galaxy what humanity truly is." She paused, letting her words settle. "We are not the oldest species. We are not the strongest. We are not the wisest. But we are something that the Hollow do not understand. We are stubborn. We do not give up. We do not surrender. When we are pushed, we push back harder. This is who we have always been. And this is who we will be until the very end." Across Earth, people made their choices. Some fled to the outer colonies, hoping to survive. Most stayed. They knew that if Earth fell, there would be nowhere left to run. Volunteers flooded the military recruitment centers. Old soldiers came out of retirement. Young people who had never held a weapon signed up for training. Factories that had built consumer goods now built missiles and armor plates. Miran was one of the volunteers. She was 35 years old, an engineer who designed water treatment systems. She had never thought of herself as a warrior. But when she heard the president's speech, something changed inside her. "I can help build ships," Moran told the recruitment officer. "I know construction. I know systems. We need everyone we can get," the officer replied. "Welcome to the fleet." In the command center, Yoonho studied the tactical situation with his old friend Admiral Byung-chul. They had served together for 30 years. They had survived battles that should have killed them both. Now they faced the greatest challenge of their lives. "We cannot match them in open combat," Byung-chul said. "Even with every ship we have, they will crush us." "I know," Yoonho said. He pointed to the holographic display of the solar system. "That is why we will not fight them in open combat." He highlighted several points around Earth's orbit. The orbital stations. Dozens of massive platforms that served as shipyards, research centers, and habitation modules. "We turn these into weapons," Yoonho said. "Each station has enough mass to destroy 100 ships if it hits them directly. We crash them into the Hollow fleet." Byung-chul stared at his friend. "Those stations house thousands of workers, and someone will have to pilot them into the collision. They cannot escape once the course is set." "I know. You are asking people to die." Yoonho's voice was heavy. "I am asking people to choose. The same choice I have already made for myself." Byung-chul was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "I will pilot one of the stations. If we are asking others to die, we should be willing to die first." "No," Yoonho said. "I need you to command the remaining fleet. If the station attack works, someone must lead the follow-up assault. That must be you. Then who pilots the stations?" "I will pilot one. I already planned for it." The words hung in the air. Byung-chul wanted to argue, but he knew it was pointless. Yoonho had made his decision. Hannah found out the next day. She stormed into her father's quarters, fury written on her face. "You cannot do this," she said. "I will not let you die." "I am not asking for your permission," Yoonho replied calmly. "I am the best pilot for the lead station. My experience gives us the highest chance of success. Then I will fly with you." "No. Yes." Hannah's voice cracked. "Do you think I can live knowing I let my father die alone? Do you think I can command ships in battle while you sacrifice yourself?" "I am coming with you." "That is final." Yoonho looked at his daughter. He saw the little girl he had raised, the young woman he had trained, the warrior she had become, and he understood that he could not stop her. "Your mother would be angry at both of us," he said quietly. Mother would be proud, Hana replied. She always said the Yoon family does not run from danger. They embraced. Father and daughter, both knowing what was coming. The days passed quickly. The fleet prepared. Volunteers trained. The orbital stations were modified for their final purpose. Then, on the last day before the battle, something unexpected happened. Ships began appearing at the edge of the solar system. Alien ships. Ships from the Galactic Assembly. Yunho watched in disbelief as vessel after vessel emerged from hyperspace. Kethrani warships. Morvani cruisers. Ships from a dozen species that had once laughed at humanity. Elder Mora sent a message. You asked who stands with you. We stand with you. I, Counselor Threx, followed. The Morvani have existed for 50,000 years. We do not wish to see our existence end. If humanity falls, we all fall. We fight. More ships arrived. Not many compared to the Hollow Fleet. Perhaps 200 total. But they had come. They had heard humanity's call and answered. Yunho addressed the combined fleet. Friends, allies, fellow beings of the galaxy. What we face tomorrow may be the end of everything we know. The Hollow do not show mercy. They do not accept surrender. They have destroyed civilizations older than any of us remember. But they have never faced what they will face tomorrow. They have never faced a galaxy united. They have never faced beings who choose to stand together, even when standing means dying. Tomorrow, we show them what that means. Night fell on Earth for the last time before the battle. People held their families. Lovers said goodbye. Children asked questions that had no good answers. Moran stood at the window of her quarters, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Hollow were coming. She thought about her parents, long dead, about the life she had lived, about the things she had never done. A notification appeared on her screen. She had been assigned to Station 7. She would help pilot it into the enemy fleet. She knew what that meant. She thought about running, about hiding, about finding a shuttle and escaping to the outer colonies. Then she thought about the children she had seen on Earth, the families waiting in their homes, the billions of people who had no choice but to hope. Okay, Moran whispered to herself. Okay. As dawn broke over Earth, the Hollow Fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system. 2,300 ships, arranged in a formation that blocked out the stars. Their black hulls pulsed with energy. Their weapons powered up. Yoon-Ho stood on the bridge of Station 1. Beside him, Hana took her position at the controls. Through the viewport, they could see the Black Armada forming up, joined by their alien allies. All ships, Yoon-Ho said into the fleet channel. All stations. All hands. This is the moment. This is what we trained for. This is what we live for. He paused. Humanity ascends. The Hollow Fleet began to move toward Earth, and the Black Armada rose to meet them. When mankind took up arms, the Black Armada ascended. Part 3. First Blood. The Kethrani homeworld was dying. From orbit, Sujin could see the fire spreading across the surface. Cities that had stood for 10,000 years were now nothing but smoke and ash. The Hollow was thorough in their destruction. All pilots, check in, Sujin said through the communication channel. Her voice was steady, even though her heart was racing. This was the moment she had trained for. The moment that would define everything. One by one, the squadron leaders responded. 287 ships had made the journey. 13 had suffered engine problems and been forced to stay behind. It was not a perfect number, but it would have to be enough. Enemy count? Sujin asked. Approximately 1,400 hollow vessels, G1 replied from the command ship. They outnumber us 5-1. Sujin looked at the tactical display. The hollow ships were spread around the planet like a swarm of insects. Their black hulls pulsed with strange patterns. They looked alive somehow. Hungry. "Admiral Yunho," Sujin said. "We are in position. Awaiting orders." Yunho's voice came through the channel. He was aboard the command ship with Hana and the senior staff. "Sujin, you have tactical command. Show them what humans can do." Sujin smiled. She switched to the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, listen carefully. The aliens we are about to fight have destroyed every enemy they have faced. They think they are invincible. They think nothing can stop them." She paused. "They have never fought humans before. Today, we teach them fear. Attack Formation Delta. All ships, charge." The Black Armada moved forward. Unlike other species, who preferred to fight from a distance, human ships were designed for close combat. Their armor was thick, their weapons were powerful at short range, and their pilots were trained to never retreat. The Hollow noticed the approaching fleet. They began to turn, forming their own attack pattern. Energy weapons powered up. Missiles launched. Sujin pushed her ship to maximum speed. The stars became streaks of light around her. She could see the Hollow vessels growing larger in her viewport. "All ships, fire at will." The void exploded with weapons fire. Human cannons tore into Hollow ships. Missiles slammed into enemy hulls. The Black Armada hit the Hollow formation like a hammer hitting glass. The aliens had never experienced anything like this. Other species fought defensively. They retreated when outnumbered. They valued survival over victory. Humans did not think that way. Humans attacked harder when the odds were against them. Sujin destroyed 2 Hollow ships in the first 30 seconds. Her targeting system locked onto a third, and she fired a burst that shattered its hull. Around her, other human pilots were doing the same. The Hollow formation broke apart under the assault, but the enemy was not helpless. Their weapons began to find targets. Human ships exploded. Pilots died. "We are taking losses," an officer reported. 17 ships destroyed. "Keep attacking," Sujin ordered. "Make every death cost them 50 of their own." On the command ship, G1 was studying the battle data. Her eyes moved rapidly across the screens, looking for patterns. She noticed something strange about the Hollow ships. Their hulls changed color when they were hit. They went from black to a dull gray. "Admiral," G1 said, "I think I found something. The Hollow ships are organic. Their hulls are alive. How does that help us?" Yunho asked. "Living things react to temperature changes. If we hit them with extreme heat, followed by extreme cold, their hulls should crack like frozen glass." Yunho turned to the weapons officer. "Can we do that?" "We have thermal missiles and cryocharges," the officer said. "If we fire them in sequence." "Do it," Yunho ordered. "Send the firing pattern to all ships." The new tactic spread through the fleet. Within minutes, human ships were using the combination attack. A thermal missile would hit a Hollow ship, heating its hull to extreme temperatures. Then, a cryocharge would follow, freezing the superheated surface instantly. The organic hulls cracked and shattered. The Hollow losses increased dramatically. For the first time, they were dying faster than the humans. On the planet's surface, the situation was desperate. Millions of Kethrani civilians were trapped in the capital city. The Hollow ground forces were closing in, killing everything they found. A shuttle carrying human marines descended through the flames. Sergeant Sung Ji-ai led the team. He was 40 years old, a veteran of the colonial wars. He had seen combat many times, but he had never seen destruction like this. "Landing in 30 seconds, the pilot announced. "Ground is hot. Expect immediate contact." Sung Ji-ai checked his rifle one more time. Behind him, 50 Marines prepared for battle. "Listen up," Sung Ji-ai said. "We are here to save civilians. The Kethrani are not our friends. They look down on us. They laughed at us. But they are people. And we do not let people die if we can save them. Is that clear? Yes, Sergeant. The Marines responded. The shuttle landed hard. The doors opened, and the Marines charged out into chaos. Buildings were collapsing. Fires burned everywhere. Kethrani bodies littered the streets, and the Hollow were waiting. They were tall and thin, covered in black armor that seemed to be part of their bodies. They moved with terrible speed. Their weapons fired beams of dark energy that cut through everything they touched. Seunggi opened fire. His rifle rounds bounced off the first Hollow, barely scratching its armor. He switched to explosive ammunition and tried again. This time, the creature staggered. Heavy weapons forward. Seunggi shouted. The Marines brought up their heavy guns and poured fire into the Hollow line. The aliens fell one by one, but they kept coming. For every one that died, 2 more appeared. Elder Morath watched from a shelter beneath the government building. He saw human soldiers dying to protect his people. These were the same humans he had laughed at in the assembly. The same species he had called children and weaklings. One Marine fell near the shelter entrance. A Hollow advanced toward her, preparing to deliver the killing blow. Seunggi appeared from nowhere, tackling the alien and driving his combat knife through its eye. The creature screamed and died. The wounded Marine looked up at Seunggi. "Thanks, Sarge. Thank me when we are off this rock," Seunggi replied. He helped her to her feet and kept fighting. Above the planet, the battle was turning. The Hollow had lost over 400 ships. The Black Armada had lost 63. The human tactic was working. Then something changed. The remaining Hollow ships stopped fighting. They pulled back from the human fleet and formed a new formation. At the center was a massive vessel, larger than anything they had seen before. The command ship Yunho watched on the display. What are they doing? The command ship began to glow. Energy built up around it, growing brighter and brighter. "They're charging some kind of weapon," G1 said. "It is aimed at the planet. If they fire, the Hollow were going to destroy the entire world rather than lose the battle. All ships target that vessel." Yunho ordered. "Stop that weapon." The Black Armada charged at the command ship. Missiles flew. Energy beams stabbed at the massive hull. But the Hollow ship shields held. Hana piloted her ship straight at the command vessel. She fired every weapon she had. Other ships joined her, pouring fire into the same point on the shields. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a crack appeared in the shields. A small opening. Sujin saw the opening. She pushed her ship through the gap and opened fire at point-blank range. Her weapons tore into the command ship's hull. Systems began to fail. The energy buildup stopped. The Hollow command ship began to break apart. A wave of relief spread through the human fleet. Then something unexpected happened. The Hollow retreated. Every surviving ship turned and jumped into hyperspace. They were gone. Seunggi looked up at the sky as the last Hollow ground forces fell. The battle was over. The Kethrani homeworld had survived. Elder Morath emerged from the shelter. He walked to where Seunggi stood among the bodies of fallen Marines. "You came," Morath said. His voice was different now. The arrogance was gone. "Your people died for mine. Why?" Seunggi looked at the Kethrani elder. "Because someone had to." On the command ship, a message arrived. It was broadcast on all frequencies, in perfect human language. "We know you now," the Hollow said. "We are coming for your world." Yunho listened to the message. His jaw tightened. "Let them come," he said. "We will be waiting." The first battle was won, but the war had just begun.